Google's at it again, announcing another major layoff, and this is at a time when they've just announced record profits. And this significant layoff is going to be affecting thousands of people in the voice assistant, hardware, engineering, and ad sales teams. So we're seeing a continued trend of tech being hit particularly hard here in the beginning of 2024. And this comes at a time as many companies are starting to shift their priorities more towards AI-driven solutions, and then unfortunately it looks like it's including employees as well. And according to Sundar Pichai, hopefully I'm not butchering that name, but this is Google's CEO. This is the list of goals or focus that Google is going to have going into 2024. You can see the top one, number one, is delivering the world's most advanced, safe, and responsible AI. They've got this like supercomputer that they've built, and they're working on all kinds of these solutions. One has to wonder what the end result of this will be 10 years from now. But they're also improving knowledge, learning, and creativity and productivity. So the productivity piece is what stands out to me. When you're looking at ChatGPT and all these other AI tools, that kind of seems consistent with their push toward AI. And the last one that really stands out to me is this: improve company velocity, efficiency, and productivity, and deliver durable cost savings. And obviously, this continuing round of layoffs by Google and, let's face it, other major tech companies has a lot of tech workers and Google workers specifically feeling pretty disenfranchised, and I can't say I blame them, especially when the CEO of Google has announced that they're looking at AI to replace some of these jobs. So what do you think? Are you worried about AI potentially taking your job at some point in the future? Leave a comment and let me know.
Welcome back to our channel, AI Crystal. Today, let's critically talk about Google's shocking decision to lay off 20,000 workers, a move shaking up the tech world. Let's dive deep into the reasons behind this massive cut, what it means for the company, and most importantly, what it signals for the future of tech jobs. So what's going on? Google, part of the tech giant Alphabet Incorporated, has reportedly laid off around 20,000 employees across various departments, from engineering and product teams to support and recruiting staff. This isn't just a small restructuring. This is one of the largest workforce reductions in the company's history.
If you thought that layoffs in big tech were done, they definitely aren't. This morning, Forbes shared this article that Alphabet, so that's the company over Google, is going to be cutting about 10,000 of their lowest performing employees. So this is a form of quiet layoffs where companies aren't necessarily calling it layoffs, but they are finding ways to reduce their headcount. And in this case, they have asked managers to stack rank employees and are looking to cut the bottom 6%. Apparently, they normally have about 2% ranking at the very bottom, like lowest performing, and they've told managers that this year about 6% need to have that rating. And then those are the folks that would be targeted for performance improvement plans and to be exited. And by sharing this openly, they're also encouraging employees to consider new opportunities, especially those who may be lower performing. So it's a good way to get people to leave on their own because they realize that expectations are going to be higher, instead of needing to, exit them, which is always a more complicated process. Of course, my advice to anyone in this situation would be to quietly start your search, certainly, but don't necessarily quit just because you're afraid of being laid off, because when you're laid off, it comes with a lot more benefits in terms of severance packages. And even when lower performers are exited, often they're going to receive severance. And the other thing I would say is, if you are in this position and you do have other opportunities, talk to HR. They may be willing to give you an exit package.
Here we go again. I've now reported, I think 3 or 4 times that Google has made cuts. And why are they making cuts? Well, they're using AI. AI automation is definitely removing jobs from Google and will continue to remove jobs from the rest of the tech sector and other industries. So yes, companies are getting leaner. If Google's doing it, a lot of companies, especially in the tech sector, will copy Google, and in order to compete with Google, they'll get leaner. That's how it works in every industry. If McDonald's has more robot restaurants, then the Burger Kings, the Wendy's, and other fast food chains are going to have to do the same because they won't be able to compete if they don't.
Tech is getting absolutely cooked right now. Google is laying off about 200 employees from their core engineering team, and they are planning to replace those with offshore workers from countries like Mexico or India. The job market is pretty bad right now, especially in tech. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be a common trend that we are going to see in companies in the years to come. Companies are going to be looking for measures such as offshoring to do cost-cutting measures. So if you're in tech, make sure to keep your skills sharp, brush up your resume, brush up your interviewing skills, and even try to make it so that you're irreplaceable, because this is going to be a common thing that is going to be happening. Interest rates are high right now, which makes it expensive for companies to finance their business operations. So as a result, companies are going to be doing a ton of things and labeling them as cost-cutting measures. Right-sizing, downsizing, all that stuff. Check out the resources in my link tree and use that to better handle this brutal job market.
I was reading that Google made lay off 30,000 employees simply because their AI operation is improving. And I was just talking about this. A lot of y'all think y'all don't need to keep up with a lot of tech news. I said in the last video, if you're working in warehouses, you know how Amazon is looking to increase their robotic operation because it costs less to operate a robot than it does to pay a human employee. And when companies have that option to choose, they will always choose the cheapest option, especially when they want to cut costs. Google News isn't surprising, and I definitely see it happening because this also goes back when I was talking about improving your automation, incorporating AI, because a lot of people don't need big teams, and the largest companies in the world are starting to see that they don't need these large teams in certain places when they can automate those processes and move to AI, and a lot of them are going to do that. It's very important that you are paying attention to a lot of tech news, because just because you think it doesn't pertain to you, it does, right? It really, really does. And stuff like this with Google, 30,000 employees, could be warehouse, could be corporate, could be something as simple as customer service. These things will hit hard in a lot of places, so it's definitely something that you want to keep up with.
Why is Google making these cuts? Let's break it down. 1. Overhiring during the pandemic boom. During COVID-19, tech companies like Google expanded rapidly to meet digital demand. But now that demand has cooled off, companies are stuck with bloated payrolls they can no longer justify. 2. AI and automation replacing jobs. Ironically, Google's advancements in artificial intelligence, including Gemini, and its AI search tools are now replacing human roles. The same innovation that made the company thrive is now causing job losses. 3. Cost-cutting pressure from investors. Alphabet is under pressure to improve profit margins amid slowing ad revenue and global economic uncertainty. Cutting 20,000 jobs could save the company billions annually. But here's the critical question. Is this just a financial decision, or a failure of leadership? Tech companies have become known for high salaries, perks, and grand expansion plans. But when reality hits, it's often the workers who pay the price, not the executives who approved the expansion. The human impact? We're talking about 20,000 lives uprooted: engineers, designers, researchers, and support staff. Many found out about the layoff via email, some while on vacation or sick leave. These are real people now facing an uncertain job market. What does this mean for the tech industry? Job security in tech is no longer guaranteed. AI might be creating efficiency, but at a human cost. Companies may continue cutting back in 2025 if profits don't rebound. Let's hear from you. Is Google making the right move? Or is this a short-sighted decision that could damage its reputation and morale? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel AI Crystal. We appreciate all our returning subscribers. And if you're new here, welcome to the conversation that matters. Stay tuned for more critical breakdowns of the biggest stories impacting you.